Obviously, it's a crowded primary field, a kind of condensed primary schedule. There are a lot of people trying to get their message out there right now on both the congressional level here and obviously the presidential level. What do you think sets your campaign specifically apart, sort of amongst all of this discussion and debate, that people should to take note of and say, you know, here's something different for the voters?
Well, there are 4 of us out of the 8 that I think have had significant experiences in government, the public sector, for instance, and I think that my experiences trumps everybody else's. I mean, I've worked all over the world. I've worked for the 2nd largest company in the United States, that being Ford. I've worked for the largest healthcare company in the United States. I've worked at the Wishart Hospital emergency room taking care of Indianapolis residents. I have done a variety of things, I think, that uniquely prepare me to take this job on and to do it and to do it in a stellar way for the citizens of this city. You know, I went to all the IPS schools, 63, 56, 74, and 80, and I graduated from Shortridge High School, so I understand what our school system is capable of. I understand where we want to be. I understand the parents of this district, and I believe I can help them to make sure that their children get the kind of education that everybody should have in this district. And so I think I've got the commitment, the experience, the energy, the enthusiasm, the talent, the wisdom to do a great job. And I think that that looking at my experience compared to everybody else, then I would be the one to choose.
Watching one of your recent television advertisements, you seem really engaged in the sort of larger, sort of national, worldwide campaign to move toward green technologies and greening of our society. Do you want to go ahead and talk about that?
Oh, absolutely. I dare anybody to tell me what the United States energy policy is today. But we shouldn't be surprised if the Vice President of the United States came from one of the companies that benefits from us not having an energy policy, and the President of our country comes from the gas and oil industry. Is anybody surprised that we don't really have an energy policy? I mean, why shouldn't we have double, triple, quadruple the number of hybrid vehicles, for instance, on the road that we have today? Why isn't the Congress motivating and or incentivizing the car companies to move much more quickly in that direction? I drive a hybrid. It was almost like pulling teeth to get one. And I know that the vehicle that I have increases my gas mileage by 25% or more over the same vehicle without the hybrid engine. So if everybody were to buy a hybrid, think about the savings that we would have. And it's not just in the vehicles that we can have energy savings. It's in green technologies in our buildings, the whole LEED standards that we could apply to buildings that are built in future months and years. Those standards allow for us to prioritize those energy-saving ideas that keep us from using energy unnecessarily. Clearly, we could make a lot of progress in there by beginning to put those standards in place more carefully. Certainly by exploring in a more vigorous way wind and solar energy. Now, here in central Indiana, you don't get the kind of wind you get on the western part of the country, and you don't get the kind of sun that you get in other parts of the Sun Belt. But nonetheless, those are technologies that can be explored elsewhere and that we can benefit from here in central Indiana. How to use the coal that's available in a much cleaner way. How to make sure that the scrubbers that are in place are doing their job properly, so that if we have to burn fossil fuels, that we do so in a way that minimizes any injury to the human beings that are surrounding those plants and to the environment itself, and putting better technologies in place. Those are the kinds of things that, if given the opportunity in Congress, I would push for, and those are the kinds of things that I think will make us a better society. You know, we have got to realize that there are consequences for not making progress with respect to energy. There are economic consequences, but there are health consequences as well. The increased incidence of asthma that we have in children, that is due, according to many scientists, to the particulates that are in the air that didn't exist in previous years. So we have got to change our approach to energy management, to energy policy. We've got to reduce the problems that cause people to have disease. We've got to make sure that we are aligning incentives so that government and the private sector are all trying to do the right thing with respect to energy, and have a comprehensive approach that this country has not seen before.
over the last couple of weeks on Blue Indiana, the site, we've sort of been discussing, and the media seems to have picked up on this in the last couple of days, the issue of self-funding, and you've made a decision to dedicate some of your own funds to this race. Would you like to talk? I mean, on the site we've sort of had an ongoing discussion about what this means, the pros and the cons, and people seem to sort of fall throughout the spectrum. So, what would you say to people who maybe feel a little iffy about someone dedicating their own funds?
Well, let me put it this way. I would rather use my money than the money of groups that I've never heard of before, that I've never worked with before, many of which are out of state. I'd rather ask my friends for money or people that I get a chance to meet for money than complete strangers that are brought to me by other people that I don't know and what they're coming for and why they're coming to me. I'm not aware of. Those are the things that bother me about campaigning. But nonetheless, it is clear to me that in order to get your message out, you've got to fund it. And unfortunately, in this race, we didn't have the time that you normally have. I mean, usually, somebody makes a decision to take on something this big, you have a year or two or more to think about it, to prepare for it, to line up your support, to talk to people in a leisurely way, to go out to lunch, to meet folks, and so on. We didn't have that here. I mean, I had to make this decision on January 14th. Of the year 2008, this year, and here we are now in April. So it hasn't been that long since I made the decision, and it's impossible, literally, physically, to raise the kind of money you need to get your message out in that compressed a period of time. But I felt compelled to move forward in any case because I believe I've got the energy, the talent to do this job extremely well. And basically, what I am doing is I'm applying for a job. I'm saying to the people of the 7th Congressional District, hey, I believe I could be your guy to get this stuff done and get it done well and right for you. And the 7th District, unlike in previous years, is going to have to do its homework. It's going to have to pick between 8 candidates, 4 of whom I think are very experienced, and they're going to have to make a decision, the voters, as to which one of us represents their issues, their ideas of what a congressperson should do best. And I believe that that's me. And I want the people to understand what it is that I'm all about, what my messages happen to be, and then they can choose me to be their guy.